Keir Starmer doesn't want you to hear this, but the husband of jailed mother Lucy Connolly has just blown the lid wide open. His words have left the Prime Minister scrambling for answers, and the nation asking, what kind of justice system are we really living under? Raymond Connolly, who has stayed silent for months, finally spoke out. And when he did, his voice cut through the political noise like a blade. He didn't talk like a politician. He didn't dress it up in legal jargon. He spoke as a father, as a husband, as a man whose family has been destroyed. And when you hear what he revealed, you'll see why Starmer is terrified. For months, the government and their friendly media outlets painted Lucy Connolly as some villain, a so-called far-right poster girl. They wanted you to believe she was dangerous, extreme, even hateful. But here's the truth they don't want broadcast. Lucy was a grieving mother, a woman who had lost her own young son in circumstances eerily similar to the Southport tragedy. Her single mistake? Posting one raw, emotional tweet, a post she deleted within hours. And for that? 31 months in prison. Yes, you heard that right. 31 months locked away in HMP Peterborough, a prison wing normally reserved for murderers and repeat violent offenders. Meanwhile, violent criminals, knife-wielding thugs, and yes, illegal migrants with blood on their hands walk free. Does that sound like justice to you? Or does it sound like Starmer's two-tier system in action? Raymond Connolly laid it bare. His 12-year-old daughter, already scarred by the loss of her brother, now spends every night asking when her mum will come home. Imagine that. A child begging for letters from her mother, counting the days until her 13th birthday, while the Prime Minister smugly insists that justice has been served. Is this justice, or is it cruelty dressed up in legal robes? And then there's the hypocrisy. Starmer thunders in the Commons about free speech, saying he's strongly in favor. Oh, really? Strongly in favor except when an ordinary mother dares to express raw emotion online. Strongly in favor unless the words don't fit his carefully protected narratives about migration. Strongly in favor until his Online Safety Act, which critics now call the biggest censorship law in British history, slams the door shut on open debate. Free speech, yes, but only if you parrot Starmer's script. Nigel Farage himself roared with anger when Raymond's words came out. He admitted Lucy's deleted post may have been reckless, but called her punishment pure madness. Madness that exposes the dark heart of Starmer's Britain, a land where compassion is traded for punishment, a land where political optics matter more than grieving families, a land where saying the wrong thing online is treated worse than violent assault. And yet, Starmer thought this story would quietly fade, that Lucy's husband would stay silent, that the public would be too distracted by crisis after crisis to notice. Wrong. Raymond's revelations have brought this case back into the spotlight, and now it's not just about one tweet. It's about whether Britain is sliding into a state where truth itself is outlawed. Because here's what they didn't count on. Lucy wasn't some faceless name on a charge sheet. She was a mother. She once welcomed a Nigerian migrant family of doctors into her own home, helping them settle in the UK. Does that sound like a so-called racist extremist? Or does it sound like a mother caught in grief, punished for speaking in pain? But of course, those details don't fit the narrative, do they? And while Lucy remains behind bars, her husband has been left to hold the family together. He spoke of a daughter with crushing anxiety, a girl who asks every day if her mother will be home in time for her birthday. A girl forced to grow up under the shadow of a justice system that punishes her mum for words, but spares real criminals for crimes. So ask yourself, what does this reveal about Keir Starmer's Britain? If the Prime Minister is willing to make an example out of a grieving mother, what happens when it's you who says the wrong thing? What happens when your words cross that invisible line they've drawn? And here's the most chilling part. Raymond says the system never intended to give Lucy a fair chance. Her appeal? Dismissed, just like that. No leniency, no recognition of her loss, no acknowledgement that she deleted the post in hours. Just cold clinical punishment. 31 months, no exceptions. But why? Why would Starmer himself push so hard to keep one mother locked away while real criminals roam free? Could it be that Lucy Connolly was never the real target at all? Because let's face it, Lucy Connolly's jailing isn't about one tweet. It's about power. It's about control. It's about showing the British public what happens if you dare to step out of line. And Keir Starmer? He's using Lucy as the poster child for his shiny new Online Safety Act, a law that critics say is nothing less than state censorship dressed up as child protection. They tell us it's about protecting kids from harmful content online. But if that's the case, why is an elite police unit being set up to monitor what ordinary citizens say about migrant hotels? Why are people dragged into courtrooms for angry social media posts while violent offenders are released early? You see the trick, don't you? It's never really about safety. It's about silencing voices that make the government uncomfortable. Nigel Farage spelled it out in words so sharp they stung. Lucy's case is proof that Britain no longer has free speech. Not in reality. Not when you can be hauled off to prison for 3 years over words written in grief. Not when the Prime Minister himself avoids calling out the real criminals, but shows no hesitation in branding mothers as extremists. Farage asked the question millions are now whispering: how can this possibly be justice? And if this is justice under Starmer, what's next? Raymond Connolly revealed details that no newspaper headline dared to print. His wife wasn't just thrown behind bars. She was dumped into one of the toughest high-security wings in HMP Peterborough, shoulder to shoulder with killers, repeat violent offenders, people who've left actual victims in their wake. What did Lucy leave behind? Nothing but words on a screen deleted within hours. And yet she's treated like a national security threat. Meanwhile, another machete-wielding migrant roams the streets. Can anyone still pretend this is fair? Or is it the clearest sign yet that we've entered two-tier Britain, where the law bends to politics and punishes dissent? Even Lucy's reputation has been deliberately destroyed. Media outlets loyal to Starmer plastered her face everywhere, branding her far-right racist, dangerous. A mother grieving her own son, helping migrant families in the past, suddenly turned into a global villain. Her name smeared from London to Australia. Her daughter forced to watch as her mother was turned into a public enemy. All for what? To give Starmer a headline. To give him proof his Online Safety Act was working. To create fear. The kind of fear that keeps you from ever posting your honest thoughts online. And if they can do that to Lucy Connolly, do you think they couldn't do it to you? Raymond says Lucy has become a poster girl, not for the far right, but for Starmer's intimidation campaign. Even other inmates inside the prison whisper about it. They tell her, "Lucy, they're all over you." She has been made an example of, used as a warning sign for the rest of Britain. The message is clear. If you step out of line, if you speak in anger about things the government doesn't want you to mention, you'll pay the highest price. Is this Britain, or is this a carefully polished version of authoritarianism creeping in under the cover of law and order? And yet, through all of this, Raymond Connolly refuses to break. He told interviewers about the flood of support from ordinary people across the world. From Canada, Australia, America, Europe. Strangers writing, emailing, sending prayers. People stunned that Britain, once proud of free speech, is now jailing grieving mothers. This global outrage has left Starmer exposed. He can no longer hide behind vague legal talk. He can no longer insist Lucy's case is just about incitement. The world is watching, and it knows something is deeply wrong. But here's where the story twists even darker. Lucy's appeal, her one chance to prove this punishment was excessive, her one hope of being reunited with her daughter before that 13th birthday, was shut down cold. Dismissed. The system never intended to free her, never intended to give her a chance. Because if Lucy Connolly walks free, the government's whole narrative collapses. It proves the punishment was political, not legal. It proves Britain has crossed a line. So they keep her locked away, even as violent criminals walk out with lighter sentences. Think about that. A grieving mother sits in a cell for 31 months. Her daughter grows up without her. Her family is ripped apart. And why? Because one tweet threatened the government's story. Because Starmer wanted to send a message. Because free speech in Britain is no longer a right. It's a privilege granted only to those who stay obedient. So the question hangs heavy tonight. If Lucy Connolly's family can be destroyed for words on a screen, who will be next? Could it be you? Could it be anyone who dares to speak the truth?